Instagram stream yet, but I just want to test this, see if this works. I think we are live on the YouTube. Let's go exit live. I think that's probably better, right? It's like this. And then, can you actually make this full live? I don't know. We're live right now, streaming. Let's see. Live on Instagram. Okay. Screens on screens. It's alright. It's a work in progress. All right. So, just want to make sure people can see us. Well, I know we've got the live going with Instagram. Now let's see. What about YouTube? Is YouTube working? Gonna have to be able to check the chats. Can you hear us? Audible? I think Audible. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna let some guys join on the Instagram. Go ahead and comment. Yeah. I mean, if they can't hear us, they're not gonna say much, right? Maybe put in the chat. How's the audio? Put in the chat. Put in the chat. It's work in progress. Okay, we'll give it a couple minutes. Good. Okay, thank you, entry level employee. Awesome. Cornerstone WW. Shout out to everyone on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. I see some Tony Cuts. Always here, #1 supporter. Awesome. Just for you creations just joined. Okay, we'll give it another few minutes, let people flow in so they can catch us all in the intro. And we have Mike here on the live feed with us. He's our special guest. Mike, can you say something real quick, and let's see if people can hear us there.
Yeah, hello guys.
Can everyone hear Mike?
Can you hear me?
They can? Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. I wanted to welcome everyone back to our episode of Shoot the Chips with i2R. I'm Sunny. This is Pat. This is Joel, and we've got Michael Cadigan here, who is our guest on the live show. We do this every Thursday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard. So save the slot. I know as we do this more, we'll get better with the audio. We'll get better with the logistics behind the filming. But it's more about the content, right? So quick announcement before we get started. If you didn't get a chance to take advantage of that promotion with the free stand on the machine purchase, that's now over. But if you're part of this live web, you can still take advantage of that. Hit us up via email, chat, call us, and we can still offer that to you. The second promotion is, you all know we have the new 3D printers being launched. And right now, if you're interested, you can reserve your 3D printer for $100 only. So $100 down gets you a full reservation slot of our new 3D printer. Those retail at $2,999. But if you lock it in now, you'll get it for $2,100. Super huge discount. It's not going to happen again. So right now we have a few slots left on that. If you're interested, DM us, email us 3D, and we'll hook you up. Great. So Today's episode is more about customer success stories, and this live we're always going to be discussing business, side hustles, not just CNC, but any type of creative process that you want to share. If you're interested in coming on here and promoting yourself, promoting your business, promoting your products, this is the forum that we want to do, because with the i2R community, it's all about being together, sharing our thoughts and sharing our successes. So today we have Mike. Mike, where are you dialing in from?
I'm dialing in from western Nebraska in a real remote area.
Awesome. Yes. So Mike told me I think he takes about an hour to get his groceries.
Yeah, it's a 60-mile round trip.
Okay. On the mic, my mic, our guest mic. How do
Can you,
Okay.
can you
Let
hear
me
me
turn up
okay?
the volume. It's already mixed up.
We can hear you. We just want to make sure
Okay.
Okay.
through the other mic.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. So Mike, he's actually retired, right? You're retired, Mike?
Just recently retired.
Okay, and
Thank
uh,
you.
he claims to be retired, but he really isn't, because he has so much going on, right?
Yeah, I have two businesses that I'm running, my retirement businesses.
Okay, great. So let's take a second and learn about who you are, what you do. What did you just recently retire from?
Well, actually, I retired from a transportation business that I started about 7 years ago. Um, Sold my shares of the company, and I've had a guitar business for probably about 15, 20 years, making custom guitars. Um, Prior to that, I was a journeyman cabinet maker, probably going on 50 years now. I've been in the woodworking business, and I've either worked for other shops or had my own shop for 50 years now. But a back injury forced me into kind of smaller projects. So I kind of got out of the building cabinets and went into engineering and project management and estimating. But I stayed in the commercial woodworking business for a good 43, 44 years.
Wow.
Maybe the last 12 years of that, I just dealt exclusively in high-end residences out in the Hamptons and in Aspen. I just kind of traveled back and forth between those areas, managing big projects, real high-end exclusive homes.
Was that mainly renovation or was it building up?
Most of it was new.
Okay, cool.
Almost all of it was new. And then I did a lot of commercial stuff in the, I came from the Denver area, and I did a lot of commercial stuff in the Denver area, courthouses and hospitals and stuff like that.
Very cool.
Probably the biggest project I did was the Colorado State Supreme Court building,
Oh, really?
which I finished, put in all the millwork. I was
The what?
all the millwork, all the woodwork,
Oh, wow.
the judges' benches and the courtrooms and
It's huge.
the judge. Yeah, we had over 200,000 square feet of mahogany veneer went into that project. So it was a fun project. Yeah, I actually get to see it on TV every once in a while when they have a big court case, Supreme Court case in Colorado. I'll get to see my old bench and stuff that I did.
That's awesome.
That's one of one.
Yeah. Okay.
One on
So,
one.
so Mike, how long have you been using the i2R machine for?
Oh, I bet it's a couple of years now.
Yeah, I think
Since
you're one of our like earliest customers. And how did you find out about us, actually?
I was looking. I was kind of looking at the entry level models, and I stumbled across. I think it was the Axiom unit,
Yeah.
and then from there, I got a link to your unit, and I really liked what I saw as far as what it did and what it provided. I have some experience. I worked in a shop back in the 90s, early 90s. It was the first shop in Denver to go full on CNC
Mhm.
with everything. And I worked in their engineering department, so I knew quite a bit about them. I've just never run one. I ran the department, but I never ran the machine. So I had a lot of knowledge about it, and I stumbled onto yours, and I instantly liked what I saw. And that's when I reached out to you guys to get it going.
And how's it been working out with the it's been is it two I think it's been a little over 2 years now, right?
Yeah, I
Since
think
since we
so.
first met and we got you a system up and running.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's interesting because for the first, I don't know, year or so, I think I was telling you, Sonny, that probably 10% of what I was building went through the CNC, and that's completely flipped now. Probably 90% of what I'm doing is going through the CNC, just because the thought process is there even before I design something. So I can put this on the CNC, you know?
Yeah. How much time has that saved you?
Oh, just unbelievable, really. It's hard to measure.
Yeah.
There's more upfront time programming. I'm becoming much better. I use Spire,
Okay.
and I'm becoming much better and much faster with that program.
Hmm.
But once you get it sent to the machine, it's what I like about it is I can run it. I have a small shop you can see behind me, and the machine is right to the left of me, and I can set something in there and let it run while I'm working on something else in the shop and keep an eye on it. So that's the real advantage. It's like working by itself.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of new products, craft type products that I'm developing, where I can be watching this thing go, and I can be working on an acoustic guitar over in the other corner of the shop. So that's a big advantage as far as saving time.
So is the guitars your biggest breadwinner or your biggest passion? Which one is your
Probably
passion
my
project?
biggest passion is the guitars, building
Hmm.
acoustic guitars.
Okay.
Uh, as far as breadwinner, the guitar business has been on hold after I started the transportation business. It got so busy, I had to put
Yeah.
everything else on
Uh-huh.
hold. So I'm just regenerating all of that with the guitar stuff. I lost most of my marketing is gone after 7 years, so I have to kind of start up with that. But I'm starting a craft-based business with my lathe. I do a lot of lathe work, and I'm developing small craft items for the CNC. A lot of barnwood type stuff, and just coming up with a lot of ideas now that I'm working through. So
Hmm.
I'm just at the very beginning of starting up the business again.
Okay. And then other than the guitar, I think you mentioned you were making some other type of projects too, right?
Yeah, right now I'm working on a line of barnwood stuff. I'm starting with barnwood crosses.
Okay.
I, I developed this line probably 5 or 6 years ago, and I just use it as gifts, Christmas gifts and stuff, and everybody really loved them. So I'm getting back into that. Now I'm starting to do carvings on them. I recently purchased the collection, a Western collection that I've got in a Spire, and I'm developing my own carvings on the crosses right now. And I plan on taking that into a lot of other things, plaques and just general craft stuff. And
Okay.
I do a lot of stuff on my lathe, which I might eventually look at the fourth axis setup on here, kind of
Yeah.
thinking about that in the back of my mind of what I'm
Right.
going to do.
Yeah. So I think we've got the fourth axis attachment kit that every system you get comes fully assembled, ready to go with the fourth axis capability and laser.
Uh,
Mike's is a little different since you're like the first generation that you ever got our machine. So we've got to do a little workaround to hook you up with that one, but we'll
yeah.
make it happen. I think you also mentioned something about for your guitars you're making router templates
Yeah.
by
Well,
hand.
I have the old fashioned router templates for electric guitar bodies,
Hmm.
using a bearing bit on a big router. And I've got the templates. I've probably got 75 or 80 templates. And I'm in the process right now of taking those templates and digitizing them for the CNC. And I've
Okay.
been using the photo method. And so far, I've been amazed at how accurate it's been. I have a document camera, and I take a picture of the actual templates, and then I bring them into Aspire. And if I need to fudge them a little bit, you can, to hit the dimensions. And boy, they're coming in great.
So are
And
you using that mainly to cut new templates, or are you using those to cut the parts you would typically cut with the templates?
yeah, I'm using it to cut the actual guitar bodies
Oh, great.
on the CNC. I'm actually designed a vacuum hold down for the machine just for electric guitar bodies.
Oh, wow. Great.
It's got two vacuum pods, and I'm just right in the process now of getting everything set up for that. So I
That's,
can just drop them on the vacuum hold down and let them run.
yeah, great.
How about the procedures just to make the guitar body?
Well, the front end of it is a lot of basic lumber work. It's a lot of mill work, using joiners and planers and gluing stuff up. I laminate exotic woods on the top layer. The top layer is like an eighth of an inch thick. And I do a lot. I've got a lot of exotic woods around here. So I cut it up and I use a vacuum bag press to laminate everything together. And then it's just a rectangle, probably 1.75 inches thick by about 13 by about 20. And that's what I'm going to set on the vacuum hold down jig on the CNC. And I can just write the programs. Everything on a guitar is based on center. All your strings and the neck and everything's on a center line.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to actually do a two-sided setup. So there's going to be dowel pins. So I can do the front side and then I can flip it over. If there's cavities, control cavities and stuff on the back of the guitar, I can just flip it over and route those off too. So.
And are you able to do every part of the guitar on the CNC, or is there certain things you have to do?
I'm still doing necks analog. I don't know. I haven't really I've got an inventory of necks. I've got about 20 left over. So I haven't really got into that yet. But I think probably on the necks, I might do a lot of inlay work on the headstocks on the CNC.
Oh, great. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I'm really anxious to try that with the V-bit, that inlay technique with the V-bit. I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah,
But I want to do that on the front of the guitars too, on the electric guitars.
yeah, that really, it opens up a whole new world. It's a wild technique.
It is. It is. I'm definitely going to get into that. And I'm just starting out with epoxy resins.
Oh, great.
So I want to start doing some epoxy inlays
Oh, yeah.
on guitars and other, even on these barnwood crosses, I'm thinking about doing some epoxy inlays.
Right, that's another thing. It's just like 0 to 100.
Yeah. Yeah. You can do everything on the CNC program at all and just pour a little epoxy on it. But the thing I'm figuring out about that is you have to be able to take your part off the machine and then do your epoxy work and then put it back on. So all your templates and all your setups have to be spot on.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes back on the same way you took it off.
Yeah.
Because you have to come back and resurface the epoxy down to the level of your wood surface.
Something you could try if you can afford the space, like just leaving it on the machine. I've done it in the past where I just keep it held down in the same exact spot, pour the epoxy, and then just let it cure on the machine, and then come back either the next day or the day after, and you still have that reference point. So you can either build off from there or surface.
And just surface right there. Yeah, well, that's a thought, because I don't spill epoxy all over my machine. I'll be okay.
Yeah, gotta be a little extra careful. That's how others.
You also have a jig setup as well?
What's that, Sonny?
Jig setup.
He wants
I'm
to know if
sorry.
you have a jig set up.
Oh, yeah. Anytime you guys will place it back, you can just place it.
Yeah, that's actually what I'm doing right now. I've just mounted a fence on the left side.
Is it right next to you?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. You're on your laptop, right? So
yeah, I could probably, I don't know, tilt it a little bit.
okay.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So I just set that up, just finishing it up this morning. So I'll have a reference point on the Y direction. And then I'll just put different stops.
Mm-hmm.
Most everything I'm doing is going to have a sub board on it.
Right.
So I'm not really mounting on your spoiler board. I'll have another piece of, say, 5/8 thick, say, particle board. So I can screw and attach things onto that. And then I'll slide that using that fence onto the machine. So it kind of gives you a production aspect to it. You know, you're just in a whole setup. Yeah.
So being from you used to make guitars by hand and now you're using the CNC. What would you say to people who are stuck on the traditional route where they only want to work by hand versus using the machine?
Well, making electric guitars, you're just leaning over a 3 horsepower router and just hogging bodies out,
Hmm.
and it's not comfortable, especially if you're doing it. You know, if you're trying to make a living at it, and
Yeah.
making 20, 25 bodies a week or a month, however you want to do it, it just kills you.
Can
So
you
being
actually
able
make
to,
25 guitars by hand in a week?
my son was up here.
Wow.
he didn't
Slaving
mind
away?
bending, he didn't mind bending over and using that big router all the time,
Yeah.
and running it the old-fashioned way.
Uh-huh.
But I don't care to do that. I did that enough. I'm
Right.
retired.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing, the physical part of it.
Hmm.
It's so much easier to put it in there. And then the programming. I mean, I'm a big fan of that software.
Yeah.
I've used AutoCAD since it came out back in the early 90s, late 80s.
Hmm.
And when I got that VCarb software, it was like I couldn't believe it. I
Yeah.
just could not believe it.
What do you like so much about it? Is it just the workflow, or
The workflow and the steps, and like, I don't know if you guys have used AutoCAD, but
I need to look at it. I'm also to say like the customization, like you want to change the dimensions, and that's why you could just change it
oh,
right away.
and
We
an
just keep
AutoCAD command might be 4 or 5 steps, and a VCarb command is 2 steps. You're going, how did that machine know I was going to do this? How did it know that?
machine learning?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really sold on that part of it. I'm doing more and more in that. I hardly ever turn on my AutoCAD anymore.
Yeah, I think you had also we talked briefly before this, maybe like 10 minutes, but you had mentioned you had an interest also in teaching, right?
I do. I always have. I actually was an indentured apprentice. I went to 4 years of school to become a journeyman cabinet maker, and I've always wanted to get into the teaching aspect of it, but I live so remote out here. There's nobody to teach out here.
Yeah. I
But with
mean,
the new
you got
technology,
virtual now, right?
yeah, we're
Yeah.
virtual now. So yeah, I'd love to get into something like that.
And what type of teaching would you be doing? Do you think it's more programming, software, woodworking,
I
CNC?
think more of the woodworking,
Yeah.
combined with the programming. As I get more up to speed on the programming, I mean, I'm not anywhere close to being a CNC programmer yet,
Hmm.
but I understand it. I understand it from the basics when they first came into the woodworking business, 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Up until now, I know what the machine can do. I just got to work it out in the software.
Right.
A lot of trial and error.
So I'm trying
But
to remember. I think when we first started talking way back when, like yourself, there's a lot of retirees your age who are just completely afraid of computers, never
oh
touched
yeah,
computer. What was your experience when you went from machining with the computer? Was it hard for you, or have you always been good with computers?
I've always been good with it. Back in the I think it was about 1984. I had a really bad back injury,
Hmm.
and they told me after a couple of surgeries that I had to put my tools away. So that was about the time that desktops were just coming into the scene.
Yeah.
So I bought like the first gateway made in the barn, and, and started learning, with the old DOS and the black book, and just
Yeah.
started teaching myself. And then
Well,
AutoCAD came out, and I got their first book, and I was at that time I was working in an engineering department for a cabinet shop, and everything we did was full size layouts on a sheet of particle board.
Hmm.
And when AutoCAD came out, it was like, oh man, there's no turning back, because AutoCAD was so exact. It was spot on, where you couldn't draw it that accurate on
well,
a 4x8 sheet with squares and trammel points and such.
so you've
So I
really seen the progression.
Yeah. I went from like, I don't know, version 9 of AutoCAD, the first or second version that came out,
Hmm.
Wow.
and I've pretty much stayed with it on the AutoCAD side. And then, like I said, when I saw the V carve, it was like I was totally sold on what I could do with it. So,
Okay,
uh,
that's nice. So as far as like your retirement, what is your goals right now? I know you have the side business, you have the guitar making, you have the teaching. What are your ultimate goals with these things?
well, I love to build the acoustic guitars,
Hmm.
and I'm just going to do that as kind of a charity side of the business. I'm going to donate those.
Oh
There's a
wow.
couple of things out there like guitars for vets. There's a couple of programs. I'm just going to donate those. And then the electrics, I'll probably make enough full electrics to complete all the parts that I've had in inventory, all the necks and stuff. And then I think I'll just specialize in the bodies, the electric guitar bodies, kind of as like artwork. Do my epoxy work and inlays and stuff like that, and just
Mm,
sell those as bodies online. And there's a pretty good market for that that we've tapped into 6 or 7 years ago. So I'm just going to do those, earn a little income with that, and then everything else is just going to be craft sales. Go to
mhm.
local craft fairs. It's real big and out in the country. They
Yeah.
have traveling craft fairs and shows. So that's kind of what I want to do. Probably no, I really am not interested in taking custom orders to build stuff. I don't want to take on that kind of stress. I've had that for 50 years in the woodworking business.
That's to show your retirement.
Yeah, so I just want to build stuff and
Yeah.
take it to craft fairs or guitar shows or whatever.
How
You
much
know,
can one of those art guitar pieces go for?
the body's a fancy body, high
Mhm.
end, probably $250, $300.
Nice.
You know, not a whole. It's not like an acoustic guitar. I was selling acoustics for $2,500,
Right.
Wow.
but the electrics I like. That's why I bought the CNC based on electric guitar bodies. Really, that's
Hmm.
why I got it
Okay.
because I saw the potential of what I could do with it.
Yeah.
And then since then, I've come up with the inlay ideas and the epoxy ideas. So I'm anxious to get started at that stuff
So how are
because
you sharing? How are you sharing your projects right now? Like what platforms are you using?
I'm not. I was using eBay
Okay.
years ago. It was eBay and Facebook.
Hmm.
We have an old Facebook page for High Lonesome Guitars. I haven't even been on it in years, but my son's still on. He's still active on it.
So High
But that's why,
Lonesome Guitars is your company, your official
yeah,
company?
that's the official company.
Okay.
And I have High Lonesome Consulting where I do some local work to help construction companies with project management and stuff like that.
So I think is this a Facebook page or is it an actual website that people could go onto and check it out if they wanted to?
I have an actual website, but I haven't touched it in
Okay.
10 years, so I'm not proud of it at all.
Is it highlonesomeguitar.com? Is that
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
Okay.
it is.
All right. And
It
you
needs
don't
some
have an
work.
Instagram page.
No, I don't.
We got to get you an Instagram page at least
Yeah,
so we can start posting all your cool guitars on there. High
yeah,
Lonesome Guitars, right?
yeah, High Lonesome Guitars.
Okay.
And I have that Facebook page, which I think is also High Lonesome Guitars.
Yeah.
There's probably more stuff on that, but again, I'm not even on Facebook anymore, so I haven't been on it in quite a while.
Okay.
The marketing end is kind of the end of the process. I got to get a whole bunch of stuff built, and then I'll figure out what to do with
Yeah.
it. But
Okay.
I do want to get into what we're doing right now on the video side. I can actually see a market for that with my shop and everything that I do. I'd like to get into making YouTube videos.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. People could probably learn a lot from all the experiences.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm just kind of dipping my toes into that right now. All
Great.
right.
Yeah. We can definitely help you with the edits or any helps on the marketing, social media especially.
Yeah, I'm not very much into that kind of stuff. So I'm learning photography. I'm taking a course, online course in photography, just so I can get started. I figured learn the camera first and then get the movie side of it going.
And if you had one big advice for people who were interested in trying to start their side hustle, even not just CNC, but anything in life or how to be successful, what would that be?
I think it would be to do what you enjoy the most.
Hmm.
To go after what really gets you going, what lights your fuse. If it's building things or whatever you enjoy the most.
Hmm.
Um, I would start there, because you got to put people in positions of what they can do the best, and usually it's what they enjoy the most. And a lot of times you don't know until you start.
Right.
It's like the transportation business I started. It was non-emergency medical transportation. So we were transporting elderly in wheelchairs. And I had no idea how much I would enjoy that.
Yeah.
I mean, just dealing with the older folks and everything, it was very rewarding. So I guess the biggest advice would be just find something you really enjoy doing. And then the rest will come. You'll learn the business side of things. That's really important. I've owned 4 businesses, and I think the back office of whatever you do is the most important. Learn the books, learn how it runs. Because if you don't learn that, you're not going to survive very long in your business.
Yeah. Yeah.
A
You gotta be
lot of
passionate.
people,
Yeah.
yeah, they're real passionate about what they do, but they don't have any idea about how to run a business and how to operate the back office.
Hmm.
And a lot of times they fail just because of that.
Right.
So that would be probably one of the biggest advices, is learn the books,
Yeah.
learn how all that works.
So I think the takeaway there is be passionate for the things you do and also have a mind to always grow and continually want to learn. And I
Yeah,
think for you, you
you
seem
have to
very
grow. I
engineering.
mean, if your business is good, it'll grow on its own, and then you have to learn how to manage that growth,
Hmm.
which in today's economy and stuff, it's tough. It's tough getting help,
Yeah.
because once you start growing, you can't do it all yourself. Then you have to hire folks, and that's probably the hardest part of business right now, is hiring people that want to work. So it's a tough deal. That's
Yeah.
part of the reason I sold out of the transport business, because we had 10 vans on the road, so we were always hiring, and people would last for a week and then they'd move on.
Mm,
Just the way it
that's
is.
tough. Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing is just to be passionate about what you do. Um, I started playing guitars probably when I was 40 years old. I learned how to play guitars.
Wow.
I started buying guitars. And then finally I got to the point where, I'm not going to buy another guitar. The next one I'm going to build. So I reached out
That's
to the
powerful.
Martin Guitar Company, and they helped me a lot to
Hmm.
build my first guitar. And then I just took it from there.
Did you
So
offer them any type of sweat equity, or
no,
did they just help you build and you promised to
they
help
had
them
they
sell
had
some
just
guitars?
started it was called GMC, Guitar Makers Connection.
Okay.
That was kind of in its infancy with Martin guitars. And kind of like you guys, I got in on the ground level with
Yeah.
that, and they kind of helped me get started, and then bought some books, and just, I had all the woodworking skills, so I knew how to build things, but I had to enter the musical world with it also.
Hmm.
That's
Because
amazing.
yeah, it was something. I was kind of trying to find something I could do that was light, because I'd hurt my back and I couldn't lift heavy cabinets and stuff. So I was always keeping an eye out for stuff I could build that was small and light. And guitars fit the bill perfectly.
Plus, they're fun.
They're fun.
That's true.
You can make a box, but you can't make it musical.
Okay. And did you teach yourself how to play the guitar or did you
No, I actually took
learn
some
from school?
lessons.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a struggle to do it by myself because I'm
Mm.
not a naturally musical person.
Yeah, I have an app on my phone where it's a guitar. I just play with my fingers. That's the furthest I've ever
Technology's
gotten.
a lot better
It's a
now.
game.
Yeah, I did the old-fashioned way, learning how to read sheet music and stuff, just like everything else.
Yeah. All right.
You said that was at
40. I was 40.
because it's like learning a language. That's one of those things that gets harder with age. And like, that's incredible that that's amazing.
I still can't play anything. So
Well, you got a couple more years.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm that way. I get into something and I just don't stop until I figure it out, type of thing.
That's amazing.
Your family also passionate about guitars as well. They're playing with you.
They're not playing; they're building.
Main guitars for you.
My oldest boy got into it, and he was actually making a living building electric guitar bodies for several years. Yeah,
I think you did mention your son is a
yeah. He's
filmographer,
an
photographer, or something.
executive producer
Producer. Okay.
out in Hollywood now, making movies, and he does YouTube videos and that kind of stuff. So
So you should have him help you with your videos.
yeah, if I can never get him out here again.
Hollywood, Nebraska. Yeah, yeah.
That's why. Oh, I forgot I was going to record this, but I wanted to send him the recording to show.
Yeah.
Well,
We will post this too, so you'll get a copy of it, and that way you don't have to worry about recording it on your own.
Yeah, but that's the next phase for the shop here. Is I want to get some cameras set up and just start filming and see what I can do with it.
What's your son's name?
Spencer.
Spencer. You gotta come on and help your dad grow his YouTube channel. Use your Hollywood skills. You can show him that clip. Blow up his channel. We'll help you too. Pat will be here too. Feel free to email us whatever questions you need, or send us content. We'll shoot it out there for you too.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I
That's
think
great.
you did send us some of your product pictures, but I don't want to ruin the feed because I might lose it. So
Yeah, I didn't
we'll
know
add
how
it
you.
to the end of the clip, and
Oh,
then
I
we'll also
see.
put your website on there with the guitars. It's very cool stuff that you got.
Well, the website's kind of embarrassing. I'm proud of all the products. It's not very good.
At least it's as long as it's something, right?
Yeah,
Something's better
that's
than
one of
nothing.
those things. I taught myself how to do a website. I got a book on HTML.
Mm,
This was 12, 15 years ago,
yeah.
and did a website. And then after that, all these companies like Wix came out.
Uh-huh.
It's like I wasted my time.
I mean, you learned something from that, so that
little
now you
bit,
can get to the next step. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was easier than AutoCAD.
Okay. All right. So I think we're almost nearing the time that's allotted for the show. Did you have anything else you want to share with the community or any advice?
Again, it's just, especially with the CNC, just dive in, don't be afraid of it and just start. I started with just a little sign. And the next thing I did was multifunction table. I don't know if you guys know what those are, but they're tables with holes placed evenly spaced around them, and you use them to build things. Woodworkers use them. Multifunction tables. So that was my second project, and it was so accurate. It was just unbelievable.
Yeah,
it probably has 100 holes in it where you put in bench dogs, and you can put track saws on it and cut projects. But just let it go. Once you get it, just start building stuff. It's a little intimidating right off the start. Is that thing going to run off the table or?
Yeah. I can imagine with the hurt back trying to drill 100 holes, right? Doesn't sound fun.
Yeah, any of that kind of stuff. Anything that's repetitive, the accuracy is just amazing. Just amazing. That was probably the most impressive thing, of this machine. It's just totally accurate right out of the box. So
Happy to hear that.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I mean, I'm basing everything around the machine now.
Hmm.
And I look forward to the fourth axis thing because I've got
Of
some
course.
ideas on that.
Yeah, and then we'll get you a 4x4 machine too.
I'll need a bigger shop for that.
Okay.
This machine is kind of shoehorned into my shop right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
But I've
Working with what you
expanded.
got.
What's that?
Working with what you got.
Yeah. Yep. I'm kind of the master of working with small shops. This is like my fifth one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, Mike, I definitely appreciate you taking the time to sit here with us and share your story. It's very, very, very helpful for me. And I'm sure a lot of people out there also got a great message from just hearing you and listening to what you were able to accomplish. And definitely, we're going to keep our relationship going and help you through with all the success that continued success. And definitely keep in touch and let us know about your development with your new guitars. And I actually do need a more art along my walls in my office, so maybe you can
There we
make me
go.
something.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I
Okay.
appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity, guys.
Yeah, and you are our first guest on here.
Oh
So
yeah. Well done. Congratulations.
All right. Thanks.
yeah, and then guys on Instagram, sorry you had kind of like a boring feed since you're just staring at the monitor, but we'll improve the process as we develop it. Any questions, comments? Just remember you can still qualify for that free stand promo if you get a machine. Just message us, and then also we've got the 3D printers, $100 down. You'll get a great discount, get access to the system, and message 3D in there. And stay tuned for the next episode, which is going to be next Thursday. And we also have another guest coming on. And thanks again.
All
Talk
right.
to you
Thanks,
soon.
guys.
Thank you very much, Mike. Have a good one.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay. You too.
Have a good one.
Bye now.